Radio by the grace of God 92.9 FM KGPJ of the beautiful city of Grand Prairie.
Good evening. Welcome to 92.9 FM KGPJ here in the heart of Pleasant Grove, Texas. I am Pastor Keenan L. Tennyson, the proud pastor of Pleasant Hill Missionary Baptist Church. I'm here with one of my constituents, Contessa Childs. Been in it all day, man. Just excited to be here. So we welcome you to the show tonight. If anytime you have any questions, you can always call in at 214-235-0683 and touch bases with us. We'll answer any questions that you may have. We want to open with a word of prayer. Father God, we come this evening to say thank you for this awesome and dynamic day you blessed us with today. We ask that you just continue to bless those that we were able to touch today. Bless those that are listening this evening. Pray and hope something be said that would prick their hearts, God, to get their lives in order financially. Give us a call and answer the questions that we may have. Ask that you just keep blessing this radio station to continue to share the good news of you and of Jesus Christ and the awesomeness that we have as believers. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Wow. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am so full today, not just from today, just all day has been a great time. We've been working with clients all day. Was on training this weekend and this morning and talked to my coach. And one of the things we talked about is that the passion that we must have for life insurance. We got to have a passion for life insurance.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I when you search the world over and look at all the things that successful people or wealthy people have done. The one thing they did is took out a big insurance policy on their lives to make sure that their families were fine. We're gonna hit it hard today, man, and just talk about the power in life insurance. You know, we talk about getting our financial house in order, and we got to spend a lot of time on that foundation. The foundation is the most important part of the house.
Absolutely.
So many times we so busy to start investing and saving and wiping out debt, but we have no foundation, which is life insurance or money market accounts, where we put money away to really take care of things when they happen. You know, me, I would not write a person investment part. I would not do an investment on a person that does not have life insurance. We'll get into that in a minute, but it's just, wow, I am full from this morning. I'm full from this weekend. I'm full from the work today. You know, when you wake up expecting great things to happen, great things happen. And I'm just elated that we can be here this evening to talk about what we're talking about. And it goes back to Proverbs 13 and 22, y'all. It says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children. For me, that would be my grandkids.
Right.
Not my kids. I leave an inheritance for my grandkids.
Right.
So that their lives may be better.
Right. The
kids. So then when I teach this to my children,
right,
then they leave an inheritance for their children's children. Then my great grandkids are covered.
Right, their children.
Their children's children. You know, it's so much. You know, we want to grab the Bible and talk about everything, but this part.
Okay.
Proverbs are wisdom verses, are teachings that we can learn from our fathers. This is what we as men should be passing down to our families. We should be sitting at the dinner table talking more about these type of things instead of worrying about Corona and what we scrolled on Facebook and saw the Instagrams.
Right.
We're missing it. We were at a meeting today, and one of the guys we met, he was a cool dude. He said, you know, we slow. The minorities are slow. Wealthy people has just done something a little different. They left something. They grabbed some information that they didn't teach us. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. No one taught us about leaving a legacy. No one taught that. They never preached this in the Bible.
Right.
Because most people that's preaching it don't have it. Well, I'm going to tell you because I used to didn't have it.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter how people take it. It's just the truth because most people don't know it exists. We think life insurance is just burial insurance. Give me enough to put them in the ground. No, it's income protection. It's legacy. It's money being given to the family so we can shoot to our goals and dreams and be able to live forever off of these proceeds. And y'all, it's a passion of mine. I can talk about this forever, man, because I've watched the faces of people that literally light up when they know they're covered. I know when I got coverage, Mary slept better because she knew we were covered.
Absolutely.
I slept better because I promised my kids, my wife and kids, a certain lifestyle. And we're having it now. If I leave, if I pass away, that lifestyle doesn't happen anymore. And then I'm not doing what I said I would do.
Right. So
you get the coverage, man, and get this, 87% of people in Dallas don't have it.
87%. 87%. That's a lot of people.
Have none.
None.
Say zero.
Zero.
And the 13% that do, 55% of them don't have enough or the right kind.
Or the wrong kind, or they're underinsured. Almost everybody you know is underinsured.
So it's 6 million people in Dallas, Fort Worth. Am I right? Am I correct?
Give or take. 6
million. 87% of that is 5.1 million people, no coverage.
No coverage.
Of the 900,000 that's left, 55% of them don't have enough or the right kind. So that's another 500,000 people. So you're talking about 5.6 million out of 6 million people
And then
need what we finna talk about.
there's another group though, and I'm not gonna say I'm making this up, but it's a real group to me. It's the group that has insurance or life insurance, but they only have it on their job. That group of people. And hear me, it's not wrong to have life insurance on your job. If they offer it, you should absolutely capitalize on it, take care of it, pay for it. But with that being said, life is just that. Life is so uncertain. Most of us won't retire from the job that we're at right now. Some of us will. It happens, but most of us will switch 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jobs over a lifetime. Jobs are just not what they used to be. So, and again, not knocking. I used to work. I was in corporate America. I understand you have to work to feed your family, but that just requires making income. How you choose to do it. Some people choose to get up and go work for somebody else. Again, I'm not knocking that, but however you choose to make your income, if anything ever happens to that company, if anything ever happens to you, you just don't know what may or may not happen. And with having life insurance outside of your job, you can cover all of that. Let's say, for instance, you get sick. Just like our life insurance, it has a terminal illness rider where you can get money up front in case you get sick and can't go to work anymore.
Absolutely.
And so I think the big elephant in the room for me and for most of the people I know, and today, by the way, we've had a phenomenal day. I just think everybody should know that our day has been phenomenal. And what made it so phenomenal is we didn't know it was going to go like that, but it just really speaks to the power of the crusade, of who we are and what we do. And it shows a real need that people need what we have. And I guess maybe I'll let Keenan get into the day and kind of tell you how it went or how it started. But the need for what we do is so real because, as Keenan just shared those numbers with you, there are so many people that need it. And then of the people that need it, they don't know where to go, where to start, who to call, how much they need. And so that's who we are. That's why the crusade is real. That's why it lives. That's why we do what we do, because there are people who need us, who need to be educated, and that's what we're here for.
Absolutely. You hit something just a second ago, Contessa, talking about the group insurance.
Okay.
You only have that coverage as long as you're part of the group.
Right.
And then there's really no life insurance policy. It's just they put your name down and how much money you're giving, and they give it the discount based on the group, the company. So all of you that do have insurance on your jobs, hey man, go ask them for a policy and watch what they tell you. They're going to tell you there is no policy, or they'll make up something and you just don't know. And if you're not careful, a lot of times the insurance, the company you work for will take out a policy on you and you don't even know it.
Right.
That's what Walmart got into all that trouble for. A lot of people were dying, and come to find out, they were taking out policies on the people and making themselves the beneficiaries.
Right.
So they were getting paid for their workers, but the workers were paying for the insurance. It's a lot of stuff, man. It's a lot of ways to get mishandled in this area. So, we got to be careful. We got to ask questions about this, because the worst time to find out is when somebody passed.
Right. And I'm sure we all know that once they've passed away, it's usually too late. Here is my disclaimer for anybody. If you have a job, great. If you have insurance on your job, that's even better. Here is my advice to you personally. Go find out what you have. Make sure that you know what you have. If they say you have $50,000, and then make sure what kind of life insurance it is. Let me say this out loud, because I deal with a lot of people, and we look at a lot of policies, and people will say, well, yeah, Contessa, I have life insurance at work. And we'll look at their policy and they'll go say, oh, well, wait a minute. It was accidental death and dismemberment, or it was only AD&D, or... Okay, he said stop.
What is accidental death and dismemberment?
I mean, for most jobs, it's different, but generally speaking, AD&D, which is stands for accidental death and dismemberment. Means you had an accident and something was dismembered.
Yeah, you have to die. For the insurance to pay, you have to be in an automobile, plane, train, boat.
Right. It's gonna sound crazy, but basically you have to die a certain way.
Accidental death. You have to die from the accident. So now watch this. If they have accidental death and they go to the hospital,
Okay.
they didn't die from the accident. They died from an internal injury or something else happened.
Right.
And they don't pay.
Right.
Dismemberment means if you're in the car
And
or
you
an
lost a
accident
limb.
and you lost a limb,
Okay.
they'll pay you for that limb. But most people think they have coverage,
Right.
life insurance, and they just have accidental death and dismemberment. I had a client, I'm not going to call her name, she didn't give me the rights to use her, but went to her house and she pulled out her Gerber policies. Oh, I got $500,000 on me and my husband, and I got $100,000 on my kids. Well, when I said go get the policy and let me look at it, I went and got the policy and looked at it, and I can tell by the amount that you're paying what kind of coverage it is.
Right. Like you said, stop. Pause right there. So people get excited. Oh, I have this much coverage and I only pay $11 a month. I only pay $8 a month. That's fine. We all want a budget. We all want a discount. We all want to pay. I don't want to say as least as possible, but here's what you understand. You get what you pay for. If you are paying $8 a month, I promise you, you have that amount of coverage. Insurance is not expensive, but again, you get what you pay for. So, true to what I shared a minute ago, just be certain about what you have. Be certain what kind it is, how much you have, who the beneficiary is, and just know that. And even with that, I will say this: if everything is good, if the amount is good, it is a good, you pay a decent amount out your check every month, and it's solid. Because there's some great Fortune 500 companies out there, and they do have some good coverage, and they do pay. I don't want you to think I'm saying that, but it's always okay, or I would even advise, is that you have something outside of that.
Right.
You just never know what can happen. The group insurance is only effective as long as you are a part of the group or you have the job.
Absolutely. And then when and because of who we are and the passion that we have about what we do, we will not discredit your insurance. We'll add that in the numbers to help you come up with how much you need.
Absolutely.
It's cheap. It's inexpensive. Keep it. Get it. I mean, I'm not telling you not to get it, but you got to get the substantial amount of coverage on yourself outside of the job, so you can so your family members can live the lifestyle that you promised them that they can live. When we look at the text, it says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Then I'm like, well, what are some ways we can leave an inheritance? I'm glad you asked. Number one is financial gifts.
Okay.
Leave them some money. Financial gifts. We use life insurance because a lot of people don't have enough time, effort, and apparatus to save their way to wealth.
Right.
Insurance is just in case you pass away on your way to getting wealthy.
Well, here's what we know. Just pause right there. Death is certain.
Absolutely.
Death is certain.
Well, amen.
I don't care who you are, what you do, what color you are, what your gender is, what size you are, your nationality, your marital status. All of us are certain to die. I mean, unless the rapture happens first, we're going to die.
Yes.
And so since we know that death is certain, the only thing that we can do is prepare for it. And buying life insurance is just basically preparing for something that you know will happen, but you have no idea when. So you'd rather pay, 20 years earlier than a day too late, because once it's too late, it's too late.
And that's where the term by term investor difference comes from. All insurance starts out as term insurance, people. Take it for what, I don't care what these people tell you. All insurance is term insurance. Now, what happens is they will do what they call, for most in our neighborhoods, they'll come in and give us a cash value policy.
Right. Whole life, by
Whole
the way.
life.
That's
They'll call it
life.
whole life. We'll cover you for your whole life, and you can buy term up to age 95 too. I'm gonna give you a twist in a minute. They promise you two things. They promise you cash, and they promise you a policy. You're paying for that. But what they don't tell you in that cash accumulation account, that no money goes in there for the first 2 years,
Right.
because that's to pay the commission to the sales agent. Then on the second thing is that if you need the money, you have to borrow it. The money grows in the account at 2 to 3, maybe 4%, but they charge you 6 to 8% on your money when you got to pay it back. Now stop, hold on, wait a minute. Let me ask you a question. Who put the money in there?
It's yours.
So why are they charging you for your money?
Right. I mean, just the word borrow. The fact that you have to borrow the money and it's yours will raise questions and red flags for me.
And then number 3, what they don't tell you, Contessa, is that when you die, they give you one or the other. You don't get them both.
Right. You don't get the face amount and the cash accumulation account. You only get the death benefit, and the death benefit will be minus whatever it is you borrowed against the policy. So say for instance you have $10,000, you borrowed 2. When the person dies, you will only get 8 because it will be minus the 2,000 that you borrowed. So I mean, again, it's about educating yourself and knowing exactly what it is you have.
They promised you 2 things.
Okay.
You're paying for 2.
Mm-hmm.
But they're only going to deliver 1.
Right.
That's called robbery.
Yeah.
And here we come in. We teach you how to buy term insurance. It's just pure insurance. It's just like car insurance. If you pay the premiums and you die, we pay.
Right.
You can't borrow against it. There's no money to borrow. But what the twist we bring to it is investor difference. What is the difference? When you have a whole life insurance policy, you're paying a lot of money for it, and we give you more coverage for less money. Let's say you're spending $90 $100 a month, and we come in and give you, and you got $20,000 worth of coverage. We'll come in and give you a quote and say, hypothetically, give you $100,000 a month, $100,000 worth of coverage for $65 a month.
Right.
So that $35 that we save you, that's the $35 you invest.
You invest. Right.
I don't have to find new money. If I can save you money in the policy, the money you're spending for insurance, now I'm going to give you term insurance, which is pure insurance, and then I'm going to open an investment account for you.
Right.
Number 1, which means money goes in there day 1.
Right.
Number 2, when you need it, we send it to you. Number 3, when you die, you get both.
Right.
Your family will get an insurance benefit, and they will also get a investment check, because that's your money.
Right.
And we're the company that says if you invested enough money while you have term for the period of time that you have the term, when the term is up, if you stick with our program, you won't need insurance anymore.
Right, because you will have invested enough money
to be self-sufficient,
right.
self-insured. And when you look at that, so when we get in the right amount of coverage, if I want to leave something to my children's children, $10,000 worth of insurance won't cut it. You know, we just buried your grandmother.
We did.
And you want to talk about that?
Yeah, rest in love, Grammy. I wasn't ready for that one, but only God knows. That hit my family hard. I'm sure like death hits most families. I don't want to say we wasn't prepared. I don't know how you're ever prepared or you ever expected. But when I say she wasn't sick, life was good. She was doing just fine. And it just happened. Now, that being said, thank God my grandmother did have life insurance. My pawpaw, for as long as I can remember, the insurance man came by. He paid the premiums. He took care of that. And so she had it. Here's what me and my cousin Tara discussed. What we discussed is that it was only the amount that it was. And I'm just going to tell, it wasn't much. So back then, you could get a $5,000 policy, a $10,000 policy, which is what most of us, our idea of life insurance is enough to bury the said loved one. Or here we come with Primerica, and our idea of life insurance is income protection. So where you're able to bury the loved one and then still be able to take care of their finances, pay off their home, pay off their car, any debt, any student loans, take care of any kids, grandkids. And so, of course, my grandmother left some things. We have some business to take care of. My cousins, my dad, I'm sure we'll work that out and take care of that. But here's what you understand, and I'm going to just say it flat. The more money you have, the more you can take care of.
Right.
So if you have a life insurance policy when that loved one has passed on, even after you've put them in the ground, paid for the service. And by the way, that's another thing we can talk about. You want to put your loved one away nice, but I think it's very imperative to educate the community about how important it is to not put all of your money in the ground, and just kind of help you understand and explain what it is you're going through. We go to the funeral home with families. I was there with my family, and it just makes a big difference when you're knowledgeable of what it is that you're buying. Here's what you understand. You're grieving, you're sad, you're crying, and I don't mean any slight to any funeral home out there, but it's a business, people. They are there to make money, period, point blank, end of day. So while you're crying and grieving, they're also trying to get you to spend all the money you can so they can make all the money they can. They may sound harsh, but it's just facts. I've seen it too many times. So when we're able to go in and educate families and say, hey, let's save money here, maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that. That's why people have to do funerals the way they have to do them, because of their lack thereof. Now, when you have coverage, you can, do whatever you want to do. But here's what you understand. A funeral happens and it's over. Life continues. Bills continue. The debt is still there. The children are still there. The grandchildren are still there. So these are the things that you want to be able to take care of if and when that happens. And because most of us don't know, that's why I say for me, it's about education. You want to be covered, but that doesn't kick in until you die. I want to educate you all so we can know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, so we can share with our children, so we can be prepared when the time comes. Because again, and I cannot stress it enough, death is absolutely certain. It will absolutely happen. There is no way to get around it. What is important is that you know what to do when it shows up. And most of us, y'all, we don't know what to do. We're sad, we're grieving, we're crying, and we're broke.
And those are the ones that have some coverage.
Okay.
There's so many of us don't have it, man.
Yeah, think about if you have no coverage.
We don't even think
Goosehead.
Insurance is just not in our vocabulary. Now, our grandparents had it, and what we discovered is that policy that your grandmother had, she could have probably got $100,000 for the same amount she paid for what she had.
Right, and then you think about it. So if it was only $5,000, I mean, my grandmother was almost 80 years old. I don't want to misquote. She was 75, 76, but if they have been paying on this for 30 years, let's just say their premium was $20 a month. You do the math. Surely she paid in more than $5,000, so she paid in more than they actually paid her at the end of it all.
Absolutely.
So again, they make money.
You take that number right there, y'all. You take that number you just said. Mm-hmm. You take that number just said, $20 a month for 30 years for $5,000 worth of coverage, right? She spent $7,200 on that policy.
Exactly.
They know we don't know, people. Listen to me. I am on this show to help you understand this. This is why our communities are suffering. Nobody is willing to put it on the line and come with conviction and compassion about the value of getting life insurance to protect you, man. We were at a meeting today, and I met a new friend today, and man, this dude was so adamant about getting coverage. I mean, when it's your friend, You call and talk to your friend like you talk to your friend. Say, man, get your butt up. We finna come over there and put some insurance on you, and you gonna pay for it. Oh, okay. We gotta be that in your face about people. You know, we tell people. We'll be in their face about you need to quit drinking, you need to quit smoking and all that kind of stuff. You need to be healthy. But guess what? We need to have the same kind of drive when we're pushing people to make sure they're covered. Because if you die with no coverage, then you leave the responsibility of your kids and your family at the hands of somebody else.
Absolutely.
James 1:26 says the true call of a believer is to take care of the orphans and the widows, where we can get them covered. So if there's an orphan, there's enough money that comes with him so a family member won't mind taking care of them.
Right.
It's just if it's a widow, her husband, a widow or widower, whichever it's the man or the woman, there's enough coverage left so they can continue to live, y'all. It's not about just putting it in the ground. It's about living afterwards. What happens when the people stop calling? What happens when the chicken is ate up? What happens when the spaghetti and the casseroles are done? Boy, I tell you, when these people die, we eat so much chicken, and it's just pathetic. But we don't leave them nothing. We don't bring them a check. The check is what makes the difference. I had a lady that died, a lady that bought a policy. Her husband died a week after she got the policy. You heard me right, a week. And I delivered a check to her. Now we had to do our due diligence, y'all, and make sure that they are they didn't lie to us on their application. But we also paid them interest while we did our research.
Right.
And when I brought that check to that woman, here's what I didn't know. The woman was able to pay her bills up for a year. The woman was able to go through counseling, take her kids through counseling, and one of the things about the counseling was they had to go back to the spot where the loved one passed, drowned, saving the son. They had to get back in the water. And then the wife was able to go to counseling, not rush back to work. She was able to take her time and get back in there, man, because watch this. That was a catastrophic death. You're getting ready to leave the beach, and we're going to swim one more time, and the one more time is the time he don't come back?
Right.
That woman's life was changed forever. But here's the deal, y'all. I went to sleep at night. I buckled with her when I delivered the check. You can't replace the guy, but you sure can have a little time to grieve. Most of us grieve 2 times at the funeral. Let me tell you what we're grieving from. Number 1, we're grieving because that loved one is gone. But number 2, Doc, what we're really grieving for, that income is gone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That check ain't coming no more. And if they're older people and they're looking for a Social Security, some families almost lose their mind, because if they died today on the 30th, tomorrow when that check hit, you got to get back.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can't keep it. It ain't yours. They're gone. And most people will risk their soul for a jelly roll. And bite into the jelly, ain't no jelly in it. You can't keep them folks' money, man. And when you understand that, y'all, it's just amazing how when people die, how the vultures in the family come out. How oh my God, it's just so pathetic, man. It's because we were not trained to leave something for our children's children. We don't understand that you can leave a financial gift. You don't understand that you can leave a trust. And in a trust, you set up how they get it. Right. You set up the way they get it. You set up who's in control.
A will.
And then if there's a special needs person, then guess what? You can set up monies and set it aside to where the special needs are met. You can't do all this on $5,000.
No.
If you got $500,000 and $1 million worth of coverage, or people say that's too much. What is too much? If you got a husband or a spouse that's bringing $3,500 a month home, and you need their income for 10 years, you need to at least have $350,000 worth of coverage just to cover their income.
Right.
So when I'm talking about this, no, man, I want you to get this, because don't you know the Rockefellers, you know how they got so wealthy? They calculated how long someone in the family would live. So if I'm 30 and my daddy died at 70, and if I'm 30 and he died at 60, I'm going to take out a 30-year term on me. And I'm going to get $5 million.
Right.
And I'm going to put it in a trust. So what happens is the people start calculating Death. See, once you get dying taken care of, you can go live.
Absolutely.
Most of us can't live because dying is not taken care of. You know you don't have coverage. You're on edge. You know you don't have your house in order. You know you don't have a will. You know you got tons of debt. And we're losing our mind because we're not covered. Look like we may have.
Got a 30-year term in it.
And
And I'm gonna get.
hello, this is Keenan.
And I'm gonna put it in the truck.
Hello?
You know what happens is the people.
Hello.
Hello?
Dead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, who is it?
And once you get dying taken care of.
Who am I speaking with?
Hawkins, man.
This who?
It's Hawkins.
Hawkins. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? Are you on the air right now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got a question.
Okay.
I got a question. My question is, what is the amount? What is the greatest denomination of insurance one can obtain?
What is the greatest amount of what?
What is the greatest denomination? What is the greatest denomination of insurance one can obtain?
The greatest
What's
amount.
the most amount?
Most
that
amount?
somebody can-
What is the greatest? What is the maximum amount? There you go.
There
Thank you.
is no maximum.
What is the maximum amount
There is
of
no.
insurance that one can obtain?
There is no maximum. Then we'll give you a minimum. There is no maximum. If you can pass the,
Right.
if you can, you take me. This Hawkins, right? You take me. I got a $2 million policy on me through my church.
Right. Key man insurance.
It's called Key Man Insurance. And when I die, half of it goes to the church, half of it goes to my wife. The problem was I was young enough when I got it, and I think I pay $185 a month for that coverage. $2 million. That's through the church. See, don't take some of this money you're gonna give me, and let me set things up. So if I pass away today, the church gets $1 million cash. My wife get $1 million cash. So I take care of a lot of things. Number one, you can, if we got projects going on, if we got things going on, it can keep on going. Number two, if something happens to me, you ain't got to worry about what to do with the first lady. Give her check and let her go. And now we got $1 million cash, Hawk, where people can come in and we can find the right pastor, pay him what he needs to be paid, and it doesn't put the church in the bind.
Right.
Now, on the minimum side, the minimum amount of coverage we can get is based on $15 a month. You got to at least pay $15 a month to get some coverage. And I've done quotes for people that are in their 20s and 30s. They got $100,000 worth of coverage, just $100,000 worth of coverage in their early 20s, and they pay $15 a month. That's 50 cents a day.
Right.
To at least give them something. So when you come in there and you start looking, what we need to do, Hawk, is count up the cost. What needs to be covered? Let me tell you, you need to wipe out your debt. You don't want to leave that debt to your family. You need to be able to put you away
So,
properly.
you know, when I look at insurance, I look at it from the perspective that a company looks at. You know,
Okay.
based upon if you were an entity, and say for instance that individual, many companies back in the day used to put insurance on their CEOs or
Right.
on their presidents of their company or their board members or whatever.
Absolutely.
Because that individual, not only did they pay out so much money to that individual, but they also, that individual brought in so much money to their company.
Absolutely.
And that actual company suffers a loss, and they have to replace that denomination of amount of money that individual would have brought in over a year period.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the way they would calculate their insurance that they would put on a person.
That's
Right.
right.
You know,
And
so
that's right.
Mhm.
That's right. So you're right on the point. Because guess what? Guess what, Hawkins? Your house is a company.
absolutely.
You are the CEO of your house. Your
Absolutely.
wife is the co-CEO. So guess what we got to do? We got to take out our own policy on our own company members. Because if something happens to you,
The kids,
what happens to your wife?
grandkids.
Right.
We got to be, see what happens. What I tell them, I got enough coverage on me to, my wife, she might go on, get married and do whatever, but she going to put a picture of me up and put lights on and say, here lies a stud. You know why? Because I left her something. I left her more than what, than what she spent, what she would spend to live her life, because she was my responsibility. Does that make sense?
Oh, it's always making 100% sense, you know. But most people don't live by what makes sense.
Right.
And so how do we engage those individuals that have the lack of education? And now, you know what, the program that you guys are doing right now, definitely we need to boost it a lot farther than where it is, even more, because there is, you know, what does Hosea 4:6 says? My people perish because of lack of knowledge.
Right.
And so, you know, that's one of the reasons why our just put it straight, our race of people are perishing in that area.
In that area, right.
Because, you know, I was listening to you when you was talking about the Rockefellers and how they come into their money, and when you know, those individuals that were the key head people in that family, they had extensive amount of insurance on them.
Right.
And now, you know, one of the things in which I would like for you guys to even share, and that is on a living trust, on a trust. You know, because I think that is a valuable investment as well.
Right.
As it pertains to individuals, and that's something that, you know, putting away money. I was listening to you earlier when you were saying that, you know, for instance, I have about 4 or 5 policies.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you know, I'm looking to select one policy that will do what those 4 would do.
And we definitely
and keep the 4 and do and then get the 1.
Absolutely.
As well.
And that's what,
and make that into a trust. Absolutely.
You can definitely do that. And here's how we get it out. When this door opened for me, you know, I pastor, you pastor. They can listen to us on Facebook and YouTube, and we go live and streaming. But when this door opened for me, it was for me to get this out. One of the things that I've been praying about and asking God to show me is, how do we start our own finance ministries in the church? You know, I can do that. I don't want to work your church. I want to find out who 2 or 3 of your key people that can fall up under your teaching, that teach in the vein that you teach in, teach them this information, and they put it in the same vein that the pastors teach it in, so it doesn't feel like it's a conflict of interest, doesn't feel like somebody's trying to come in and work your people, and it becomes a way of life. When I do marriage counseling, we do budgets. We talk about where you're going and how much money is it going to take to live. See, sometimes, I don't care how cute that girl is, you don't know she come with $250,000 worth of student loan debt.
Well, that's true.
That's a big factor.
You know what? One of the things in which I say to individuals all the time, I don't care how much money a person makes. It doesn't matter. You know, the amount of money you make is really, at this point, it doesn't mean nothing to me.
Right.
I want to know how much of that money that you make do you have left.
Yes. How do you keep
That's the key.
How much do you keep?
That's the key to everything.
To everything. And you're so right. And that's one of the reasons why the other day we was talking about max out on your 401ks on your job. Because they're matching it, and that's tax-free money. That's tax-deductible money. You get to write that off on your taxes. And I'm going to tell you another way. Get your home-based business. We can show you how to do that, because here's the deal. Yeah. You qualify for 187 different tax write-offs when you run a business from your home. See, like you said, it ain't what you make, it's what you keep. You know, and start. That's why people are mad at Trump, President, what you call number 45, because he made those billions of dollars and only had to pay $725 in taxes. See, the rules.
Well, you know, the thing about that is this: is that what people don't understand. Now, you know, I may not be well liked when I make this statement, but at the end of the day, if you're producing a company
Yes.
that gives 500 to 1,000 to 1,500 individuals a job,
Right.
then I believe that there should be some level of tax break that allows you to continue to employ those people so that they can continue to pay into the government, because that's what they're doing when they get their paycheck every week or every 2 weeks. They got to pay their taxes.
Absolutely.
And when their taxes is taken out of there, you're creating money for the system to continue to go through the cycle.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, if you have a company, where you got 5,000 employees, absolutely, you should be getting a tax break, somewhere. I'm creating.
Right.
It'd be different if I was a drug dealer making $1 million a year and not creating no kind of employment for nobody.
Right.
Let's just be 100 about it.
That's it.
So I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad about the 1% receiving, great amount of tax breaks. Because they're creating jobs.
When you understand business, you can't be mad for what?
And here's the deal.
Yeah.
And here's why they're mad, Hawk, is just because they don't create. They produce. See,
they're employees.
They're employees. They got W-2s, and the owners have 1099s.
They on the left side of the park.
Right, they're
Absolutely.
in a different tax bracket. When
That's
you're
it.
the owner, you think and feel one way. When you're one of the 500 employees, you think and see it totally different. So it's two different things going on right there.
You said something.
And what you guys said earlier, we have to begin to change culture.
Yes.
Because culture is what's killing.
Absolutely.
It's not ethnicity.
No.
Well,
it's culture. It's culture. It is culture. And here's the culture. You just said on the quadrants. There's the cash flow quadrant. 4 ways to make money. There's the employee. That's the one who go clocking in. There's the self-employed that buy their job.
And then there's the I.
There's the business owner that buys a system that produces without him being there.
Absolutely.
And then the ultimate is investing.
That's in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26.
Do you hear me?
28.
Do you hear me? See what? So what we have to do, pastors, we have to be able to stand here and prove. Let them see the scriptures and give them some feet to some legs to walk this scripture out. Because when the cash flow quadrant came up, most people that's teaching from the pulpit are on the wrong side.
On the wrong side.
They got jobs, so they always see. I tell people all the time, we get crumbs and we spiritualize crumbs. When God said, I created a system that'll give you, I came that you may have life and have it more abundantly. And there are ways that I've created for you to have the abundance and walk in what you're supposed to walk in.
Right.
That's why we as leaders, think about this, man. People come and listen to us as pastors. They hold on to almost every word we say. If we tell them we need to teach you on money and finances, they will be open. But here's what I found. Pastor Hawkins. So many times I go to talk to pastors, and because their house is not in order, they won't even let nobody come in and talk. So you're doing your parishioners a disservice, and here's what the pandemic has proven. We've done them a disservice. We got to show them.
We've done a major disservice. Many of the ministries have suffered tremendously during the pandemic, and that's mainly because they took a back seat when technology was available for them to expand, and they choose the system that they were living in, and not the system that was about to become dominant.
Dominant, absolutely right. So you take now. There's technology. You take me for example. I have technology, right? But let me tell you what else I have. Since the pandemic, there have been 25 companies started in my church. Members have started their own companies. You know why? Because they're realizing all my faith that I put in the job, it wasn't there. I went to work one day and I can't come to work no more. And that money is only going to last for a period of time. And it took me years of teaching this in my congregation where pastors and friends told me I was crazy, wanted to make, all you talk about is money. No, all we ask for is money.
Right.
And a lot of times,
a lot of churches closed for the pandemic. They can't get a word, but they want people to
They
give.
open the door for the money. So if we're going to help the people, let's help the people win financially. So you know what's happening?
Absolutely.
What's happening at the church is the people are understanding money on top of the word that they're getting, and they're watching God be the provider because their minds are open to things that God showed them. Because Deuteronomy 8:18 says, it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth.
Right.
He's not finna drop money out the sky no more, but he'll give you an idea. He'll give you a thought.
Well, now there you have it. I was just in the point that our people in our ministries do not buy into a person.
Right.
They buy into the person's idea.
Right.
And that idea has to set in a way wherein it awakens them that the idea that they presently possess is flawed.
Right.
It works, but it don't work all the time.
Right.
Every person that is alive runs off of some sort of system.
Right.
Regardless.
Or that it's
who
a
they
better
are.
way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so at the end of the day, they have to see that their system has glitches.
Right.
That allows that continues to put them in deficit.
Right.
And the idea that we bring to the table has to be an idea that, because I heard this the other day. It says you can pastor a church, but you can't make people follow.
Right.
So at the end of the day, if they don't buy into the idea or the vision, let me put it in a different perspective.
That is.
If they don't buy into the idea, they will suffer. Now the ones that will, they will prosper.
Absolutely. And you're so on point.
I totally agree that the things in which you guys are sharing right now, they are, and believe it or not, insurance has never been, well, you know what, in our culture, insurance has only been obtained to bury our loved ones.
Right. In our culture.
Not to replace them.
Right.
For at least a year to 2 years if they pass away.
Right.
And
absolutely.
Insurance has to be, so my grandmother had the policy that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother borrowed $500 off of that $5,000 policy, and had to pay back $900 for that $500 that she got.
See that?
Milking them.
I didn't even understand that
because
then when she passed away,
mm-hmm.
the policy that which was left still had to be taken out of the policy.
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely.
That's a whole life insurance policy.
Absolutely.
That's how they go. And what you understand is, you said it a while ago, people perish for lack of knowledge.
But the knowledge is present.
It's present. And here's what we have to do. Here's what I discovered, because I've been doing this for a while, Hawkins, is that most people don't want the newness. You know why? Because it's an insult to the person that raised them, because they're doing it their way. This is what mama said. This is how it's supposed to do. And what happens is
you hit the nail
on to change. To change means to admit.
You know what? It's not so much. You know what? Dr. Miles Monroe said something that was so profound. He says we consistently ask God to change us, but not transform us.
Absolutely. And when
If there's no transformation, we can change back and forth.
but we won't. It won't be permanent. It won't be permanent. And here's the deal. You take. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Mom and them said, go get your checking account and open your savings account at the bank. Right. Put a little something away. Right. At the bank, they only give you 0.025% on that money that you're saving. That's why you can have all that money there. You may get.
That's if you have more than $10,000 in that account.
Do you hear me? That you'll see anything.
You're not drawing any. You're not drawing. You're not getting. You're not even getting that amount of interest if you got under $10,000 because the fees alone is going to take your interest.
So guess what? That's what Mom and them said do, right? So when the loudmouth Keenan come around and say, hey, there's a better way, won't you start investing your money over here and you can get 12% on it? Well, that's a ripoff. That's a scam. No, the S&P 500 over the last 30 years has averaged 12.85% interest rate.
Thanks.
So if the interest rate is 12.85 and they ain't giving you nothing, the bank takes your money that you have in savings, they take it and invest it in the market, make the 12% interest rate, make millions upon millions of dollars off of our money, and don't give us a dime, and that is legal.
Right, and then they charge us because we broke.
Or either turn around and make you a loan on my money.
That's what I'm talking about. Do you know?
turn around and charge me 18.5% interest
on your money.
On your money to lend it to me. And
don't give you nothing.
And then they don't have enough capital to cover your money if something happens to the bank.
Right. And then guess what? I'm finna make you laugh on this one. I told some friends of mine, do you want to make the bank change? All black churches, all churches have to do is make their deposits on Thursday instead of Monday.
Wow.
Think about all the churches. Think about this thing, SK. Yeah. All the people that have a church make their deposits on Sunday evening. You know what they tell their friends? Come on in here Monday, I'll give you $5 million. Because all these churches finna bring their money here, their hard-earned cash, and then I'm going to give you $5 million. They don't know what we're doing. We're just going to put it on the screen to show them that they have it, and you're going to pay me back 12% on that money. I'm using all their money, and here's the crazy part. We won't give them nothing when they need it.
Right.
Can you imagine this coming Sunday when all the preachers say, you know what, we finna boycott the banks, take our money and put it in there. We ain't gonna not put it in there. We just gonna wait till Thursday.
Right.
And not Sunday. Right. We'll change the bank. They'll lose their mind, man. And what we have to do is get together, man, and get together and think outside the box, man. And this pandemic has forced us to do things we never wanted to do. It has caused us to think and be creative and come up with better ways of doing what we've been doing all this time. You know, it's amazing.
I've always told you that online ministry has always been part of my ministry to begin with.
Right.
I've been virtual for 4 years.
Absolutely.
You know, and so at the end of the day, it wasn't brand new. I don't need an audience.
No.
To speak to.
Right.
I don't need people in front of me. Now, I love to have people there, but the quieter it is, the better I think anyway.
Absolutely. So let's
I can preach a whole lot better when ain't nobody saying amen.
So you don't lose your thought, right? You don't lose your thought. We over 50, right?
Keep me from looking at you, because I may be saying something that you don't like, and you mean bugging me at the same time, and that's gonna have a problem.
Absolutely.
So I tell them all the time. That's the reason why I wear my glasses when I preach, because I can't see you.
Absolutely.
I have my glasses on.
Hey man,
I can go all the way in.
We got to get together offline, man, and really put our heads together and come up with some ways.
Listen. Why don't you guys doing that this evening? But check your schedule and see what you're doing in the morning at 10:30. We need to run this again, man. You guys need to really put this program. I have anywhere from 40 to 50 people online on Tuesday.
On Tuesday at 10:30.
on Tuesday at 10:30.
How long are you on from 10:30 to
man,
what? 10:30 to 11:30?
I'm 10:30, 11:30.
Let me get here at 11. You gonna get started? I get here at 11.
Okay.
I'll be here
Then
tomorrow.
that'll work. Cause guys, listen. Believe it or not, this is the untapped wealth that can change
The world.
that can change a whole generation.
Man, it's
that's
amazing.
all.
And if we get enough people
Yeah.
listening, see, it's already working, Hawkins. I've been on here for a month, and I've been able to serve a lot of people. Now, pastors like yourself are calling in, and we're thinking the same way, that we can get this information. We'll give books to your church. This stuff is so important. I'll give you the books. They're 50 cents books, not at 75 cents. A book that you can just dissect, man, and change your whole life financially. Because watch this, that's what happened to me. I am where I am because I admitted to myself I didn't know. I was sick and tired of being broke. And I started studying how the wealthy people thought, and I started changing my thinking. I've been transformed. You talked about changing and transformation. There is a transformation that is taking place in me, and I will not go back. I'm not going back.
Well, you know, 90% of, I would say 90% of the Word of God talks about giving.
Right.
And I even teach on a financial plan, 70, 10, 10, 5, 5.
Mm-hmm.
And that's living off 70%, 10% tithes, 10% is savings or investment, 5% is for yourself, and the other 5% is for seed. And in the midst of that, if you living above 70% of what you bring into your house, then you living almost at poverty level.
You're living outside your means.
You less than a paycheck away from going in the hole.
Right.
And a lot of people are there.
Hey, listen.
I can promise you that.
Yeah,
and you know, and the last thing, you know, the worst thing about our culture, and I'm not just talking about African American people. I'm talking about brown and black people.
Right.
The majority does not understand money. They have no idea how money works.
Right.
No idea.
And that's the name of the book.
And until they understand money and what it's for.
Come on in here, Holy Spirit.
Listen, bro. They gonna be broke.
Absolutely. We have proof to prove that. Most people most people in our culture and most people in our churches are broke because they don't understand how money works. And here's the deal. It starts at the top. When we get it right, we can teach it to the people. The people will take it and they'll run with it and will change the way ministry is done. Hey, listen, man, I'm out of time. I'll be here.
Listen, thank you for taking my call, bro.
No problem. I'll see you in the morning, okay? Right back here.
I'll be here.
I love you, man. Have a good night. Thanks for calling.
Love you too, bro.
Hey, listen, we thank y'all for tuning in. This is how it's supposed to go. You don't know who's going to call in. You don't know where it's going to go. Listen, if you have any personal questions, you need to get in touch with me personally. My cell phone number is 214-335-6784. Call me. Let's talk about money. If you can't get me, you can call one of my counterparts, one of my top agents. Her name is Contessa Childs. Her number is 214-881-0074. You say, wait a minute, why are we giving out our cell phones? It's that important.
It's what we do, man.
This is what we do. This is my life, man. I've been blessed to do two things. I've been blessed to talk about salvation, and I've been blessed to talk about financial independence. The two most powerful messages that ever graced a man's lip, I got them. and I eat, sleep, and drink it. So we want to thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next Monday. Those of you that were here that just heard, I'll be back as a special guest tomorrow so we can get the word out. Y'all pass this word out. You got people that may be interested. You have the conversations. Have them log in on Mondays and check us out. The radio station is 92.9 FM. The website will be open. We go live. Check us out. Let's get this thing going. We love you, and we'll see you on tomorrow. Have a good night.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
Grace of God 92.9 FM KGPJ of the beautiful city of Grand Prairie.